For a star running into a black hole typically ends in a spectacular light show, and its destruction. Just one star that astronomers know of managed to survive an hassle with a black hole as heavy as 400,000 suns. It happened in a world about 250 million light times down from Earth. Astronomers with really important outfit noticed bursts of X-rays that raged in space every 9 hours. They must be Mayday signals from a star trapped by a cosmic ocean. The star was an average red mammoth when it met its new friend for the first time. When they got too close to each other, the empty space monster could not repel the temptation and tasted on its guest. When it was done with the star's external hydrogen layers, all that was left was the star's core. Ultimately, the poor thing turned into a white dwarf. But for some reason the giant space monster could not finish the mess and trapped it in its route for laterally. Rather, ever since the now white dwarf has been traveling in 9-hour laps, it stays far enough from the hole so it will not fall in or get swallowed. Its trip is not going super easily. Because of graveness, the orbital path is constantly rotating. After 2 days it resembles a spirograph pattern. As the black hole keeps gorging on it, the star keeps losing its mass and growing in size. Its own route is getting more and more indirect. Scientists believe one day it will be suitable to curl down from its mean friend and turn into a Earth the size of Jupiter in 1 trillion times. That's 70 times longer than the macrocosm was so far, so it might not ever be. The Milky Way alone has hundreds of millions of black holes. And there are way more beyond it. They might feed on other stars and release them in other worlds. The telescopes that live now might not be strong enough to spot them. Most worlds, including our Milky Way, have supermassive black holes at the center. They can be billions of times heavier than the Sun. Others of their kind are only 3 times the mass of the Sun. The nearest black hole to the Earth was spotted 1,000 light times down, just around the corner in galactic terms. It's in a star system you can see with an unaided eye. Scientists set up it when they notice a star carrying weirdly. It was a giant, rotating like crazy. They guessed it must have an important gravitational companion. The empty black hole astronomers have spotted so far weighs as important as 34 billion suns and is about 6 times bigger than the one at the center of the Milky Way. It eats the fellow of one sun every day. Occasionally black holes indeed devour others of their kind that be too close to them. Before you get on a spaceship to escape to some safe no black hole world, then's some good news. Indeed, though they are supermassive, they don't have a compass large enough to destroy Earth, and indeed the empty of them are safe to watch from a distance. No black hole should come closer to our Earth than the Sun for as long as the macrocosm was multiplied by 10 billion times. In the doubtful case one of these scary effects passes by blue, it could affect the Earth's route. That would be no good. In proposition, anything can turn into a black hole. The only difference between it and the Sun is the material their centers are made of. It's incredibly thick in those huge space monsters. In reality, there is just one given way to make a black hole. It has to be the gravitational collapse of a super massive star, 20 to 30 times the mass of the Sun. So the Sun will no way ever come a black hole. Trash is not just a problem in Earth's ocean metropolises and timbers. There's a thing called space junk, which is any mortal-made object that has been left in space and now serves no purpose. There's also natural debris from meteoroids and other cosmic objects. There are presently over 500,000 pieces of space debris ringing the Earth at. That's high enough to beget significant damage if they were to collide with a spacecraft or satellite. NASA does its stylish to track every single object to ensure that operations outside Earth can reach their destination safely. Have you ever looked up at the night sky and tried to count all the stars? Yeah. Good luck. Our world, the Milky Way, not the delicacy. The world has about 100 billion stars, but other estimates put it at over 200 billion. Since calculating the exact quantum is a nearly insolvable task indeed for astronomers. As for the entire macrocosm, there are at least a billion trillion stars, that is a 1 with 21 bottoms after it. For comparison, that means there are more stars in space than there are grains of beach on all of Earth's strands. When the globes in the solar system were just starting to form, Earth didn't have a moon for the longest time. It took 100 million times for our natural satellite to appear. There are several propositions as to how the moon came into actuality, but the prevailing one is the fission proposition, is that where notoriety went, fishing caught the moon on a hook and dragged it over into Earth's route. No, I made that up. The fission proposition proposes that the moon was formed when an object collided with Earth, transferring patches flying about. Graveness pulled the patches together, and the moon was created. It ultimately settled down onto Earth's elliptical aeroplane, which is the path that the moon orbits. A trip to the nearest star piecemeal from the sun would take you 5 million times. On a marketable airplane, that is what I call a long-haul flight, it would take you about 100,000 times to travel from one end of our Milky Way world to the other at the speed of light on an airplane that is just too numerous bottoms to fit into a single screen. The sun can fit about 1 million worlds inside it, but there is a star called Dewey Scuti that is about 1,700 times larger than the sun. Nearly everything in space is connected with everything differently by graveness. Star systems are part of worlds. Worlds are part of clusters, and clusters are corridor of superclusters. The largest known supercluster in the macrocosm is the Hercules Nimbus Borealis Great Wall. That is a name. It's further than 10 billion light times wide. Blights has the largest natural conformations in the solar system. The mountain 3 times high than Everest. The Flume nearly 7 times longer than the Grand Flume, and the crater that could fit half the Amazon swash across it. Although the Big Bang proposition is the most feasible one, experimenters still find substantiation against it. For illustration, one proposition suggests there is an axis around which the whole macrocosm rotates. It's aptly named the axis of evil. There's a supermassive black hole at the center of nearly every major world, including ours. Black holes can attract not only stars and globes but also other black holes, ultimately incorporating and getting one with a much lesser mass. The spinning movement and enormous graveness of black holes occasionally makes it throw spurts of matter into space, traveling at nearly the speed of light. There's a thing called the Great Attractor. It's a gravitational anomaly outside our world that cannot be seen, but is known to attract the Milky Way and lots of other worlds toward itself. The loftiest mountain in the solar system is Olympus Mons on Blights. It's 3 times as high as Mount Everest, the Earth's loftiest mountain above ocean position. If you were standing on top of Olympus, mods, you wouldn't understand you were standing on a mountain. Its pitches would be hidden by the Earth's curve. The Moon's graveness is only 17 of the Earth's. If your weight was 100 pounds on our home Earth, you'd only weigh 17 pounds on the Moon. You would be suitable to walk a distance 6 times longer and carry a weight 6 times heavier there, or just higher notoriety from NASA to carry it for you. Though it's easier to walk on the Moon, it's more dangerous too. An astronaut's bottom in a heavy space suit sinks into the Moon's ground up to 6 elevation deep. Long-distance jumps are unbridled and dangerous because the Moon's face is full of deep craters. One of the effects Jupiter is notorious for is the Great Red Spot, a giant spinning storm. This miracle used to be so gigantic that it could fit 2 or indeed 3 Earths. But the spot is shrinking right now. It wouldn't fit further than 1 Earth. If 2 pieces of the same kind of essence touch in space, they bond and get permanently stuck together. It doesn't be on Earth thanks to water and air that keep pieces separate. The Moon isn't an ideal sphere. It's shaped more like an egg because of the Earth's graveness. The base of the egg shape points toward our Earth. Normal visible matter, for illustration, globes and stars, make up just 5% of the macrocosm. The rest consists of unnoticeable dark energy, that's 68, and dark matter about 27. It leaves us with 95% of space we know nothing about. The mysterious Kuiper belt lies behind the root of blue. It's filled with massive icy objects. The most curious thing about this miracle is its movement pattern. The only explanation astronomers have: blue is hiding a ginormous Earth. This academic Earth has formerly got the name Earth 9. All we've to do is stay until its actuality is verified or not. You will not be suitable to wear a chapeau on Venus ever, and just try to stand on your bases. The Earth is insanely windy. Its upper winds blow 50 times faster than the Earth rotates. What is further, these fierce winds no way stop and can get indeed stronger with time. Want to get down? You will have to travel 11 billion long hauls down from Earth before ever leaving the solar system. Take your Google Maps with you. You presumably heard of methane gas, a derivative of natural processes similar as stormy exertion and cows. Anyway, this gas isn't only a part of the Martian atmosphere but also the thing that confuses astronomers to no end. The thing is that the volume of methane on Blights keeps wavering, and scientists just cannot figure out where it might be coming from. Can there be cows on Blights? As you may flash back, Pluto used to be a Earth but was stripped of this title in 2006. Latterly it was reclassified as a dwarf Earth. Make up your mind, but the most unanticipated fact about this illusion body is that its periphery is lower than that of the US. See for yourself. The topmost distance across the country from Maine to Northern California is about 2,800 long hauls. As for Pluto, it's only 1,473 long hauls across. In fact, if you laid Pluto right down in the middle of the United Countries, you'd crush the heck out of Iowa, Kansas, and Nebraska. Bad idea. The Earth, Uranus or Uranus, you can't palm either way, rotates on its side, and astronomers have no idea why the Earth has chosen such an unusual position. The lawbreakers could be ancient mega important collisions, but so far it's just a proposition. By the way, this is the only Earth laying on its side. Our sun is insanely massive. What's some evidence? Well, percent of all the mass in the solar system is in the mass of the sun. In particular the hydrogen and helium it's made of. The remaining is substantially the mass of the solar system's 8 globes. A light time is the unit of distance covered by light in a single time. Light moves a little further than 186,000 long hauls per second, so one light time is nearly 6 trillion long hauls, which reminds me our Milky Way is 105,700 light times wide. Really, trust me. There's a whole lot of water floating in space. Astronomers discovered a huge vapor pole that is 140 trillion times the mass of the Earth's ocean water, but don't worry, it's 12 billion light times down, so we will not drown in that stuff anytime soon. Saturn's rings were not discovered all at once. It happened gradationally, and they were named alphabetically grounded on the time scientists set up them. They go like this: DCBA, FGE, which of course spells gumshoe bath. There's a giant red spot on Jupiter that's bigger than Earth. Astronomers confirm that it's a perpetual storm that has been going on for centuries. Color me light. Astronauts only wear orange spacesuits during launch warp, or when they are in the spaceship for survival and deliverance purposes. Their white suits are equipped else to help them survive in external space. The closest neighbor to our Milky Way is the Andromeda world at '2.5 million light times down, and you can see it on a clear night with an unaided eye. And by the way, in a little further than 4 billion times our world will collide with the Andromeda world. According to some prognostications, the worlds will not survive, but our solar system will. Place your bets. It takes 243 Earth days for Venus to complete a gyration around its axis, but it takes 225 Earth days for the Earth to root the Sun. That means a day on Venus is longer than a time. Now we always see the same side of the Moon no matter where we're on Earth. That is because the Moon rotates around the Earth at the same speed it rotates around its own axis. External space is not a perfect vacuum. It contains not only stars and globes but also shadows of astral dust, space tube and cosmic shafts. Those are snippet fractions dashing from the outskirts of the solar system. One miracle people should be upset about while exploring space is cold welding. If two pieces of the same kind of essence touch in space, they bond and get permanently stuck together. It doesn't be on Earth, since water and air keep pieces separate. Astronauts on board the Transnational Space Station do not use their bases to walk, they float around, so en route the skin on their bases becomes veritably soft and starts to peel off. That's why they've to take their socks off veritably precisely, else skin cells will break free and float around in the nearly light terrain. Earthquakes on the Moon or further rightly, moonquakes are not commodity from wisdom fabrication. They do not do as frequently as on our Earth, and when they do, it happens near to the center of the satellite. Scientists suppose moonquakes might be caused by the graveness of Earth and the Sun. One of the moons of Saturn might have a ring system conforming of 3 narrow bands. If astronomers manage to confirm it, it will be the first time people discovered rings around a moon. That's nothing. I have had rings around my collar for times. Normal visible matter. For illustration, globes and stars makes up just 5% of the macrocosm. The rest consists of unnoticeable dark energy that's 68% and dark matter about 27%. Add it up and there is 95% of space we know nothing about. In its darkest areas, space is indurating. Cold disadvantage 454 degrees Fahrenheit, but try ringing Earth in the sun and you'll understand how scorching 250 degrees feel. That is one of the reasons astronaut spacesuits are white. This color is the stylish to reflect the heat from the sun.